good things. But every time I see your face, you look the other way.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Cloud-Based Mayhem. This is episode 30. I can't even believe it. What started off as a whim a couple years ago, after listening to some pretty awesome pilots give some amazing talks here in Sun Valley at the PWC, decided to start a little podcast, and look at how it's grown. And thank you all for making it what it is. Thank you for your donations. Thanks to Miles Connolly, who has been helping me edit these. It takes a lot of time and a lot of hours. But it's totally worth it. And yeah, thank you so much for supporting the show. One little quick bit of housekeeping. As I've mentioned on the last couple, we are doing a show where Bill Belcourt is going to host the podcast. I'm going to go down and visit him right after the holidays, right around New Year's, and bring him your questions. So I'm still taking questions on that. If you've got a question for the Yoda of the Sky, Bill Belcourt, who is episode 1. If you haven't caught that one, please go back and check it out. It was actually just a recording. We recorded a conversation I had with him for when we were making 500 Miles to Nowhere a few years back down in Salt Lake City. So this guy, when Bill opens his mouth, it's just like you just got to lock it deep in your brain and remember what he says. He has an amazing way to talk about the sport that we all love. So yeah, send me your questions. I'll fire them off down to Bill, and he will be hosting a future episode of the Cloud-Based Mayhem. Some of you are probably familiar with Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, kind of stories of success and how people become really good. And one of the things I love about paragliding is that age doesn't seem to matter too much. The guys that really crush it on the PWC are typically way past their physical prime. Guys in their 50s and late 40s are very often the guys to beat. And that really encourages me because I'm 44 and going into an X-Alps year, but certainly past my physical prime. But it's just something I find really encouraging about the sport, that you don't have to be young and super strong to really excel at flying. However, there are the outliers, and this conversation with Micky Sigel is one of those. Micky started flying when he was 13, I believe, or maybe even younger, and has been chasing it hard. I first met Micky here at the PWC in 2012, where he got 4th. I think he was 24 at the time. Just a phenomenal pilot. He's a test pilot for Gin. We talk quite a bit about that. We talk about what happened with the Gin factory last year, the new CCC rules and what that's going to be doing for the development of wings, how valuable mentors are in the sport, choosing the right wing for the task, all kinds of really terrific things. Talk a lot about the Swiss League, something I wish we had an equivalent of here in the States. They just produce incredible pilot after incredible pilot, mostly because they're flying with some of the best pilots in the world on a regular basis. So we talk about a lot of the things that make a pilot great, and Micky is certainly one of those. So I think you're going to enjoy this. Without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Michael, aka Micky Sigel.
All the smiles of sacrifice, you got me hypnotized.
Micky, this is awesome to have you on the show, man. It's really cool to connect with you here. I think it's been almost a year since I saw you in person. I'd rather do this in person, but we are on opposite sides of the planet. Where are you, and what are you doing?
Yeah, hello, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm currently in Korea for testing new paragliders. So yeah, it's really around the world.
You guys got a new wing coming out, or can you not even tell me?
Yeah, partly I can tell you. We're working on the Boomerang 11 for the next super final, but also the most important actually is the Explorer. It's a lightweight high ENB glider that we will bring out within this year.
Oh, very cool.
So,
will that be kind of,
yeah.
you're kind of like hike and fly? Does Gin, I'm not super familiar with Gin product, but is that kind of going to be your middle range hike and fly glider?
Exactly. So we already have the GTO that people were flying in the during the X-Alps, and we have the Yeti, which is a ENA glider, which is quite light, but we missed something in between, and that's why we thought that this glider will be perfect. It's called Explorer, and that's exactly what it's meant to be for traveling, because it's light, but also you just go and explore new things, new places where you've never been before.
And will this kind of be similar performance as the Carrera? Is that kind of what it mimics?
Exactly. So we started quite early with this project, and we started with the Carrera, and now we made, I don't know how many prototypes, 6, 7 more prototypes with different profiles and line arrangements and trimmings, and now it's a completely different glider. But yeah, performance is pretty much same like Carrera, maybe a little bit better.
Okay, yeah, because the I got up close and personal with the Carrera with Will Gadd on the Rockies Traverse. I don't know if you ever got to see that film, but
Of course, yeah.
he was on the Carrera, and it's quite a lovely glider. I want to ask you some more stuff about Jin. So, what's your I know you've been a pilot for them for a long time, but tell me a little bit about that history. We'll get into your personal history too, but like I know Jin just had to close up shop and reopen in a new place. Has that transition taken place? And how much time do you spend out there?
Last year was really a difficult one. We used to produce in 2 places. One was in China and the other one was in North Korea. The idea started with to produce in North Korea started maybe 10 years ago, and it was actually not because of price or because of something like this. It was more because everybody had hoped to reunion the North and the South of Korea again. This was the original idea. But of course, for us, it was also excellent. When the gliders left the factory, it took 3 hours to get them here
Mm.
to the office. So we could easily finish a glider in the morning, send the files there, and as soon as the glider was ready, we could fly it. So we don't have to send it by airplane or something like this. It was just perfect. Then they closed the factory from one day to the other, so we lost all the material, we lost all the machines, and we never will get this back probably. So this is
Wow.
right now we think it's just closed and it will never open again. That that was a huge problem for us, and not only for Ching Gliders, but for many Korean companies. They lost everything because some of them were producing only in North Korea, and they're gone now. So we were quite lucky. We had another facility in China, but there we were mainly producing for other companies like Skywalk and so on.
Hmm.
So we could get them to other places, and now we produce only Jing gliders in this factory in China.
Did you ever visit the other factory, or did you ever get to go to North Korea?
I always wanted to, but it wasn't possible because I usually, or until this year, I stayed here only 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and there was no time. So I wanted to go there. Thorsten was there, and he said it's the factory itself was nice because it was built by Ching gliders. But to go there and the controls you get to you have to give your cell phone. There are no cameras and so on and so on. Or if you have, they check what you make. So yeah, it's not sounded pretty special.
Yeah, that must be wild. What
Yeah.
is your role there? And give me a little brief about what Torsten does as well. Are you a test pilot for Jin, or you how does that all work?
hmm Yeah, I got in as a test pilot, and I did mainly the competition gliders like the Boomerang series, or sometimes also a little bit of tandem or GTO. But and because I was studying, and this last year I finished university, and I was looking for a job, and then Jing Glider said, "Hey, why don't you start to work for us?" And now I'm working for them in as a test pilot, like part of the R&D, but also in the marketing and sales.
What was your degree? Is your degree engineering?
Not at all. It's I study geography and sports, so it's
Okay.
something completely different.
So the marketing side, maybe more so.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So I will get into it more and more, I think.
So this is now your work. Is competitions obviously still, but also R&D for gin.
Yes. So I help with the development of the new products like for now the Explorer or Boomerang 11, but also with the harnesses. Quite a big part of my job is the communication with the dealers. Of course in Europe, because I'm based in Europe. When they have questions, when they have problems or so, they usually they get now to me, and I try to communicate with them and find a solution for their problems.
Okay. Okay. So let's if any of this is wrong, let me know. I just was reading up on you, obviously getting ready to talk to you. You're 29, is that right? 29, 30.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you started flying in 2003, and from looking at your results, it wasn't long after that you were starting to shred on in the Swiss League, which is about as hard as it gets, other than the PWC maybe, and some of these kind of things. So rewind the clock for me a little bit. What was the impetus? What got you into flying? And then how did you get so good so fast?
Yeah, my parents they had a paragliding school. So ever since I was on the takeoff in a landing field and so on, and so I was almost forced to start paragliding.
Perfect. That makes it
Yeah, so
easy.
yeah. So I think that that would be a hard time for my dad if I wouldn't have started paragliding. And for me it was quite nice. So yeah, I did a lot of flights because they were for free. The material was for free, so this was awesome.
Hmm.
So the support I got from my parents was crazy. And yeah, also the problem was I started with 15, but I was not allowed to make the exam before 16. So actually, it was all under supervision of my dad or another teacher. But already there, I made like 6 hour flights, something like this, all around the valley in Kandersteg. So yeah, it was was quite cool.
That's really
Uh,
cool.
then soon after, I changed the gliders from I started with ENB gliders, and then I think even in school I went to ENC, and soon after END, and I got to the advanced team, and they supported me with the first glider I got was the Omega 6, a
And this is
perfect.
still, you're still in your teens? You're at 19, 20 now?
No. I think that was 16 or
Oh,
17.
wow, you're really young. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So they got me in this team, and it was well. I still had to pay for the glider, but it was not very much. So and then with the team, it was just this was awesome because there were maybe you remember Stefan Schmocker.
Yeah, of course.
He was one of my best friends, and we were in the same team. And with Krigel, it was perfect. I mean, he is such a nice guy, and with those two, I had so much fun. And then we always push. So Krigel was for sure the best, but we tried to reach him, and I think that was really what got us better and better.
Hmm. I want to know more about the Swiss League because I was remember I wasn't too long ago I was trying to fly with you in the Swiss League and I didn't have a wing or something. You were going to lend me an ice beak or something. I was going to go fly, but
Yeah.
I've kind of followed it. This is something that we just don't have. There's a league out in California, but it's not very serious. It's really more recreational and for fun. When I look at the Swiss league, there's because I don't speak German, I don't know exactly, but there's like the A group and the A plus group, and and the names on there are just they are the names really in paragliding. Is this? I mean, can you uh, place a lot of the success with the Swiss pilots on your training regimen? Is that what's creating so many good Swiss pilots? Is it the league?
Yeah. Also, yeah, I think that's part of our success. But I think it's not only that. It's just like the problem is I cannot tell you why. someone is successful. I mean, now it's the more Swiss are quite bad at the moment, and the French are much better. But I cannot tell you why it's like this or why some Swiss pilots are very good. Sometimes it's like Krigl is always very good, but he's also flying every day. But on the other hand, Stefan Morgenthaler, who is also a really good pilot, or Stefan Wies, they fly their competition gliders only in competition. And Stefan Wies never joins the Swiss, is never on a Swiss League Cup. So these frequent competitions we have, because he's always working as a tandem pilot. So I cannot tell you why, but for sure the Swiss League is good for the young pilots. So we take them there. It's like a training. We help them quite a lot, and we try to. It's like a small family. So the youngsters coming, and we take care of them.
What is it, define what that means by taking care of them? Does that mean there's money available to them, or kind of travel expenses, or is it more just a mentor program?
It's a little bit of everything. So
Okay.
they, if for example, if they're students, they get the first year they get all the I think most of the competitions paid, and later it depends on your qualifications. So the best 5 pilots they get mostly paid. Like when I go to a World Cup, I get paid a little bit of this. But also for the youngsters, they also get paid a little bit. But in addition, we support them at the competition, so we help them to with task briefings, debriefings, and also when sometimes you have to put in turn points to help them how to put them in and deal with their GPS.
Okay. Okay. I got you. So you mentioned Stefan Weiss, who's, an incredible, I mean, he's has so many incredible results. Is it, could you, as a Swiss pilot, could you make a living? Like if you didn't have the job with Jen, could you make a living just off competitions or no? It's not that much support.
Oh, no
Okay.
way. Sometimes it pays the cost for the travel, but only like when I'm going to Brazil, it pays the cost for the flight. So
Okay.
that's it.
So even somebody like Kriegel has other responsibilities, other means to make money. He's not doing it just from paragliding. Well, I
No,
guess he could be doing it through guiding and tandems and what's
exactly
okay.
that's how he does. So he has quite I think he has quite nice sponsors, but just because of the money from the Swiss league or this will not work in for him.
Changing gears here a little bit, only because I know your hometown, which the Swiss Alps are all of them are magnificent. But you live in Kandesteg, and if I've screwed up the pronunciation there, I apologize in advance. But it's just unbelievable. It's just like waterfall heaven, gorgeous. Just uh, south of Interlaken. What a spectacular place! Is that your favorite place to fly, or where is your favorite place to fly?
I cannot tell. It's Sun Valley.
Ah, where you got fourth, you took it to the Americans, even on our home turf. Congratulations! That was my first PWC. That was this is a pretty amazing spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. But to be honest, I don't have like the flying spot, but because there's so many nice places, but it's all different. I mean, Brazil is awesome. When you go to Colombia, it's amazing flying.
Hmm.
But Kandersteg is really really nice, and it's just something special. And even if I fly there every day when I'm at home, it every day is different, and it's you can do easy soaring in the evening for 2 or 3 hours with yeah as a beginner with 10 flights, or you can go in the most wild lee side you can ever imagine there, and it's just offers so great flying. I think that's part of the why I good got good at paragliding, is because it's wild, so you have to control your glide quite well.
Hmm.
And yeah, as you said, the landscape is spectacular. It's just you go out, it's just nice.
I think what you said there, that one of the reasons you got good fast is because of that area. It really that does really make sense to me because it's you're in the big Alps and it's radical, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot going on there. It's very complicated. You're just one ridge over from the Vallis, and you're very close to the Grimsel, and yeah, there's it's a complicated area to fly.
Yeah. So it's nice. On the other hand, it's important to learn with the valley breezes and the wind systems and so on. But this year we had the World Cup in Saint Andre in southern France, and there I was completely lost. So for me, it wasn't working at all because there with the valley winds, it was not working the way I expected. So the French, they went on places. I said, no way it's gonna work there. I went where I thought the thermals will be, and there was nothing but lee side. And so it's interesting. For me, it works quite well, the flying in Switzerland, of course, but also Austria, Italy. But yeah, sometimes it's also not working, and then I'm lost a little bit. So of course I got good because of that, but also sometimes it's like a trap.
Do you tell me about your personal flying? Do you is most you like you said, Stefan mostly just flies competition because he works the rest of the time. How do you split your time? How much is spent just free flying versus comps? Do you chase huge distances? Are you somebody that like tries to chase records down in Brazil, or I don't know much about your personal flying.
It's a little bit of all. So I started to do more and more hike and fly.
Hmm.
So this is great because you do something for yourself and then you have an awesome flight. So I like this quite a lot, especially in autumn when in Europe the thermals in autumn are usually in the higher mountains. So there are no cable cars, so you have to walk up, and this is just great.
Mm.
But I like to do everything. So in Switzerland, it depends how much I work or how much I've been flying. So if I've been testing now 2 weeks or 3 weeks in Korea and have been flying every day, then when I get home, I don't fly at all. Then I go biking or skiing or snowboarding or whatever. But if the weather is good, we try to make big distances in Fiersch or Niesen or wherever. And I love it.
Mm. Do you what is your longest flight?
Yeah, that's a pity. Last year we tried to or not break, but make the first 300 FIA triangle in Switzerland.
Mm.
And yeah, we started in Fiersch, went up to the Grimsel and back down to Chamonix.
Yep. Oh, I
And
remember those flights. That was awesome. That's right. I saw that on X Contest. That was gorgeous.
yeah, it was great. But then it was quite of a mistake. So I couldn't push enough to the north because this is not working well in the north.
You mean
But
to go tag up in the SAS?
yeah, the problem was there is in summer there is always the north wind coming in. I made a mistake and I was washed down, so I was forced to go back to the Wallis, while Köfer and Jan Stern they continued to push north, and I made a mistake there, and yeah, I couldn't go there.
Hmm. Yeah, Jan Steeren is somebody I've been watching for years in that neck of the woods. He does some really terrific triangles, doesn't he?
Yeah. So then I went back to the valleys, and from this point where I turned, I was sure I will not make the 300 because I was calculating, and in the end, I missed 5 kilometers.
Oh, that's still a monster, though. Well,
Yeah,
congratulations. Yeah.
but it was like this flight you land, and everybody said, "Oh, that was an amazing flight," and you are, "Oh yeah, I'm not so happy."
The dangers of chasing numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
A couple years ago, that would have been like, oh my God, that was an epic. Mickey, if accidents or like, if you had any kind of scary situations or accidents that have ever plagued you or come about in your career since 2003 that have kind of like, I don't know, have they set you back or have they been, well, if you had any, let's start with there.
Yeah. Personally, no, I never had any big accident. Well, I hurt my finger or my foot or something like this, but I didn't have any big accident so far, luckily. So I'm a happy guy.
Right, good. And what about I remember, you and I were part of a very bad accident with a very good friend of yours in Mexico. Have any of those kind of situations ever impacted your own flying?
Yeah, this did influence me quite a lot. Mexico is quite a bad place for me because in 2009 I think there was my best friend died there during the Worlds. This was crazy because we used to fly quite a lot together, and as he was a really good pilot, so you question yourself, why did this happen, or I'm sure this can also happen to me. And yeah, this was really a setback. And then when was we were in Mexico for my first World Cup, I was in Mexico. There was during the training day that Rafa
Mm-hmm.
Lucas had this crash on the training day, and I landed there, and he was already dead, and I had to wait there for I think 2 hours until the rescue team came. And yeah, this was also not a very nice situation. So this was also quite tough for me. Yeah.
When you say it was quite tough for you, like, I mean, obviously that kind of accidents, that kind of thing are really tough. Are you more mindful of the risk after these kind of things? Or are you more careful, or is it something you kind of just, you mourn and then you move on?
Yeah, it's difficult. So I remember, for example, in Mexico, the first day later was a rest day because yeah, he died. So we said let's stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the first day after, I went to land really early. So I just didn't feel well in the air, and I thought, oh no, it's too bumpy, and I hate it. Yeah, it's this. Even though I know it's well, it's may happen to everyone, but it's like, oh no, I take it slowly from now on.
Hmm.
But after a while, I start to push again.
Sure. Do you think there's kind of a different setting that pilots at your level have? In other words, what I'm trying to get at is like, to get to that level where you're, kind of frequently top 10 in the world, is it a different approach to risk? Is it a different approach to training? Is it talent? Obviously, all these things play a factor, but I think with you, you're in the midst all the time of some really really good pilots being involved with the Swiss League, and just being in Switzerland, just being where you live. Are there some factors there you think that could be for our audience, some factors there that you've kind of pointed out that you can share with the audience about kind of what is it a personality type? Like for example, when I think day 2 of the X Alps, I was hiking down off the not sorry, it wasn't the Laramous. Which one was it? Ashout turn point with like
Hmm.
Durigati and Michael Vici, and I was having a really great conversation with Michael Vici about that he's an engineer. And
Yeah.
we find a lot of pilots, a lot of really good pilots that are engineers. And that's always kind of fascinated me.
Uh huh. I To be honest, I have no idea. The thing is, for example, in Switzerland, is high educated people like
Mm-hmm.
Stefan Wies is a biologist, but there are or Michael Vici engineer, Adrian Hagen also engineer, and so on and so on. But there are also quite a lot of pilots like Critical Maurer. They didn't go to a higher school, or his brother either. So it's also, it doesn't mean that you have to have a good education. For example, it also could be the other side, that the others have more time to fly.
Mm.
So what I see is, at least in Switzerland, the pilots that are good now, in some period of their life, they had a lot of time to fly. So they could train a lot, they could fly a lot, they get a lot of experience to know how thermals work, how to climb well, and to see where to go. So I think that helps quite a lot.
Mm.
And it's same in Switzerland. There are big parallels between cross country flying and World Cup flying. So if you're good in in cross country, you're usually also good in World Cup because you know how to choose the lines. And on the other hand, if you're good in World Cup, then you know how to fly fast, and that helps you to go for bigger distances.
One of the questions that I get quite frequently that comes through is when people are just discovering competition, and maybe not at the World Cup level, but they're just discovering, like they're going to the Monarchas and that kind of thing, or maybe league events, and they're able to hang on to the league gaggle for one or two climbs or three climbs or maybe four climbs, and then
Mm-hmm.
they inevitably they lose them and they can't reel them back in.
Mm-hmm.
So the terminology I got in the question was, how do you go from kind of an also ran to top 10? Is that simply a matter of hours, or is that when in your own development from 2003, and you kind of kept coming up, looking at your results on the Swiss League page,
Mm-hmm.
there was, some great results, but then some really great results. Like there was almost kind of an aha moment. It seemed like about 2009. I think you won Swiss League 3 years in a row. Was there
Mm-hmm.
something you really put together there, or was that just literally a matter of flying 300 hours a year or whatever you're doing? And
I think then to win something, it's a combination of a little bit of everything actually. So it's your mental strength. So your mind is in a good setting. So I'm in a good mood. I know I fly very good, and I can beat the others.
hmm.
That's one part. So you have to believe in yourself, and then I think it works better than if you think today I'm not in a good mood, and conditions are not very nice to fly today. And if you say, looks quite okay, let's see if I have to get the best out of these conditions and beat the others. And that helps a lot.
So you're saying confidence?
Yes, exactly. You need
Yeah,
a lot of self-confidence.
sure.
And the other is the material. So I saw for me it's quite helpful if you have not the best material, you have to fly better than the others to keep up. And as soon as you then change the material to a material that is same or even better, then you will win. So that happened to me after I changed from Boomerang 7 to Boomerang 8 prototypes.
Okay.
So that was the first time I won in Colombia, the World Cup. And then when I changed from Boomerang X to Boomerang 9, it happened again.
Hmm.
So that was really these things. So you have to have good material, otherwise we will almost have no chance to win the competition, because in World Cup now everybody has a good glider. So if your glider is slightly less good than the others, it's hard to win. And the last thing you need to have is luck.
Yeah, sure.
So it's it's so crazy when you fly and you just miss a thermal, or you know that the other one that wins the competition, he just turned to the left side and you turned to the right side. He got to climb out and you bumped out. I think it's just luck.
um, do you train acro as well?
A little bit,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. The problem is I don't have enough time,
right.
but I like it a lot. So when I'm in Switzerland, we go a lot to Lauterbrunn.
Sure.
It's in the Jungfrau region. It's a really cool place to do acro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. That's a stunning place where everybody's hopping off the walls, wingsuit base jumping all day long.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
cool
crazy what's
spot.
going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild spot. I want to rewind a little bit, Mickey, yeah, because I kind of glossed over this because I wanted to get to my questions, but you actually said a couple things early on that I'm curious about. You're in Korea right now. It sounds like you're flying a lot. What's the flying like there? I don't know much about the flying in Korea.
It's special.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting place to fly and also to live. It's special. Also, the climate here is quite continental. The thing is, it's so close to China, and it's west wind. So that means in wintertime, as I said you before, it's getting really cold. So from December to, let's say, March or April, it's freezing cold. Means usually 0 to minus 10, 20 degrees. but still, then the thermals are working good. But you can imagine that I remember the first time I was here in wintertime and Jin gave me, it was a Carrera prototype. I took off in strong wind and it got even stronger. And you're there hanging there. You're the moment you take off, you're cold,
Right.
and then it's just freezing cold. It's bumpy, and I was just climbing, 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 and desperately, I wanted desperately to go down, but it was impossible. So as soon as I started the spiral, my face hurt so much I couldn't. So I had to stop the spiral, and yeah, that's it. I was hanging there for half an hour at least, trying to go down, and in the end, I just put my arms together, pushed the speed bar, and hoped for the best.
With Jin probably laughing on the ground the whole way. Welcome to Korea.
Yes, so actually, yeah, he was standing in the landing in the car, in the heated car, and when I landed, he came to me and, "Hey, Michael, how is the glider?" I said, "Here is your glider. I want to get in the car, and don't ask me ever again if I come back in winter time."
So that's a great lead into my other question. We kind of glossed over this, but I imagine, and we did because I know what a test pilot is, but I imagine a lot of our audience doesn't. What does that mean, being a test pilot for Jin? And what does it involve? Does that just mean you're a guinea pig, or tell us more about what it means to be a test pilot?
Yeah, I think it's similar to in for Chin or Ozone or Advance. I think that's quite the same. So probably we work a little bit different, but it's I guess it's basically the same. Sometimes it's a tough job. Sometimes it's a really nice job because we go to fly every good day. So this is awesome. I mean, we can do our hobby as a job. The thing is, you are also involved in the R&D, so that means in the concept. So you say, I would like to have the glider like this and this. So let's say now we're working also on a new C class. So Jin asks us, how would you like to have the C class? And then we talk about aspect ratio, we talk about line concepts, how we'd like to have the diagonals. And so then he's designing a glider, he makes the profiles, and we get the glider. We pull up first in the landing to see if everything is correct, then go up to the mountain, and then it's all about flying, trimming. You top land, you trim again, you fly, you compare, you change the glider. As soon as you like the handling of a glider, you start also to do the maneuvers because this is quite important. I'm not a very brave person, so I start to do very slow with the maneuvers. So I try trim speed, collapses. Depends also on the glider class. I mean, with ENA, B, and sometimes also with C gliders, I'm okay to do over ground the maneuvers when I know the glider.
Mm.
So even last year, I think I certified the GTO 2 extra small over ground because the collapses are reliable. So I can push full speed, I collapse, and I pull a little bit, and I get like 60% collapse. I push speed bar again, I pull same, it's same collapse. This I like quite a lot because it's reliable. What I hate is sometimes with the competition glider, you pull and you get 30% collapse. You pull again and you get 80%. And because of this, you can get in really nasty situations.
Mm.
So, yeah, the reliable gliders, I'm happy also to test over ground, but it's always like, take care what you do and so on, because even on a ENA or B prototype, when you pull too much, you can get in nasty situations.
Sure. I imagine that's probably making you quite a bit better pilot to make bad things happen, especially to comp level gliders, which I think we're all a little hesitant to do these days. I imagine that's doing a couple things. One, it's building a lot of respect for not letting that ever happen in a real world situation, but it's also probably giving you quite a bit of confidence that if it does, you've seen it before.
Yeah, yeah, this is for sure. I mean, for me, the it was quite fun because the I started to test the maneuvers in general with the Boomerang 9 small size, with the Boomerang 9, and this was a nasty glider. So, um, yeah, I had some situations I never thought I can handle them at all. So like so many twists, cravat like hell, and I never went into the water. And of course, I built some confidence with that. But on the other side, you know what happens.
Hmm.
So it's also like, oh yeah. And then when you have a big harness, like a cocoon harness with a lot of ballast, and then you will have your turning behavior in the harness will be completely different. So you think, yeah, if this will happen in a normal harness, I will not be able to control at all. So of course, I know I can handle quite well if something happens, but you also know that sometimes it's just not going the way you like.
Wow. I imagine maybe it sounds like, and I don't pay a ton of attention to this stuff, so I can't speak with any authority about this because I'm not a rules guy and I don't really understand, how gliders are built. But I imagine I understand with the new CCC rules that it's going to encourage maybe more brands to make comp gliders because for the last few years, really, it's just been gin and Nivik and Ozone. So that has to be a good thing. But I imagine also that I imagine there's a lot of pressure on you guys at the comp end of things, not so much on the lower level wings, because people I think are get pretty brand oriented and they're loyal. But at the comp level, seeing what we saw a couple years ago, and you're more familiar with this than I am because I'm pretty new to the comp scene. But the Enzo 2 came out and Nivik lost all their pilots and you guys lost a ton and everybody's flying, the Enzo 2.
Hmm.
And so I imagine there's, is there quite a bit of, I don't know, is there quite a bit of stress on you guys to build a, because like you said, if it's a 2 or 3% difference, it's pretty hard to win.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There is quite a lot of pressure on that. This for sure, and also I think this is why other brands don't bring out their gliders. It's the problem is not only it's not only that you have to be able to produce or to make a design a glider that has enough performance. It's also that it's really a lot of money we put into this,
Yeah,
and smaller brands are just not able to do this. And you have to be sure that it's at least as good as Enso 2, because if it's not, then why should they buy it?
sure.
And yeah, there's quite a lot of pressure, but for us, it's still okay. I think Niviuk is in a worse situation than we are, because we are almost same with the Boomerang 10 was okay to fly.
Hmm.
Sometimes we were even better. I mean, in strong conditions, and also when we had good final glides, which means we arrived high enough, we were faster. So this was also nice. But yeah, it's getting tough. Ozone is pushing quite a lot, and it's not easy to keep up, especially because you cannot only focus on competition wings. I mean, you don't get money with competition gliders. It's just for prestige and also for the R&D.
Hmm.
But you make the money with ENB, ENC gliders, and not with the comp gliders.
So the argument that I hear a lot is that that if you're building comp wings, so Ozone, you, Niviuk, then that technology, and because you're putting so much money and effort and energy into these really amazing ships, that gets passed on down through the brand, all the way down to the teaching gliders. But then you see companies like Nova, just killing it with their mentor and other companies that they don't even try with the comp level end of things, and they seem to be building really good B's and C's. What's the incentive for Jen and Russ? And is it just what you said, just prestige, or do you believe companies really do have to go into the comp end of things to build really great lower level gliders?
Yeah, this is a really difficult question. I also ask myself if it's good that we push so much energy into this. However, I have to say it's the competition gliders are now we're working of course now we work on the competition gliders, but it's maybe 10% of our work. For sure, for us, it's I think when we saw what happened with the technology, most of it came from competition gliders with the rigid fall, with the shark nose, then with the 3-cell blocks, 4-cell blocks, 4-liner, 3-liner, 2-liner. So all of this came from brands like basically from Advance, where they were good in competition, from Ozone or Chin. So this is something the others they follow later, and they're making it good also for the B and C or A gliders. But it's the other brands who developed it, and the others just taking it. So I think it's good that there are still some brands doing the competition gliders.
I heard this summer there were some really big flights going down down in Wyoming and Utah, and Bill Belcourt and Nick Grease and some of those guys were pushing really hard, and Bill and I think Chris Golly and Matt Dadham, they had a day where they went really big over the back of the Wasatch heading out towards Colorado, and they were all pretty much together for most of the day, on purpose. And they weren't racing; they were just trying to go big. At the very end of the day, the day's kind of dying. Matt Dadham was on an Alpina, and the other two, I believe, were on Enzo twos. And because he was just on a wing that didn't have glide, he went down kind of in no man's land and had to, because it was like this really low angle. They had just made it over this peak, had this really low
Yeah.
angle glide where he just couldn't do it. The other two glided all the way out to the road or close to the road, and then Matt had this terrifically bad retrieve. And a couple weeks later, Bill was up here flying with us, and he was talking about that if you have the hours, if you have the time, if you have the skill, 95% of the time you need the performance, and only 5% of the time you need the passive safety. Obviously, competition level wings don't have a lot of passive safety at all. But I've always made this argument that, when I'm flying big lines here, or, like when I was up in Alaska, that kind of thing, like I feel more safe on my, say, an example would be like an Ice Peak 6, a really kind of bomb proof 2-liner ish wing. And I'm not recommending this to the listeners that this is what they need to jump onto. That's not what I'm trying to get to here. What I'm trying to say is that, depending on where you fly, and you fly big lines in big mountains that are very complicated around your home in Kendesteg, do you also feel that way? Would you rather be flying on a wing that has incredible bar performance, really fast, place that you can get out of with a lot of wind? Yes, it doesn't have the passive safety, but you've got the hours, you've got the experience. Would you feel more safe on that, or would you feel more safe on a Carrera?
Tough question. For me, I choose would like to choose the glider from for what my goal is. So that means for example, if I take off in Fieschi or somewhere in Switzerland, and I want to fly a big distance, so then I need the best glider available. So it means the most performance, because at the end of the day, for example, if I take a Carrera and let's say I make a really good flight, I take the motor out of it and I get 250. Then I'm okay. I mean, it's a really nice flight. It's also a big distance. But then I question myself, how far could I have been flying? Could I have been gone with the boomerang, for example? So as I go not for numbers, but I want to go the best possible. I would like also to have the best possible gliders in this situation. But if I am, for example, go to like say Pakistan or somewhere there, I would rather have a Carrera because it's just it's risky. It's also, yeah, when you get into lee side or when you have a landing, and you need, with the comp gliders, you need a lot of ballast and things like that. So the stalls, and it's not only that. I think I feel same safe on a Carrera than I feel on a Boomerang in the air.
Hmm.
So I don't feel that I have more safety when I fly in bumpy conditions on a lower EN glider. But I know that when it comes to the landing, or when I have a big shit, like a huge collapse and twist, so on, that I will probably handle the lower EN glider easier.
What aspect of flying? I'm jumping here a little bit, but what aspect of flying do you get most excited about? Do you most enjoy? Is it the comps, flying with your friends? Is it the league? Is it just flying around your home? Is it Waga? What do you like the best?
I like everything. So I don't like too much of one thing. So that means after 1 week of competition flying, I'm done with it. I don't like competition flying anymore. So then I rather walk up to 3 4 hours somewhere in the mountain. I take off there early in the morning, first sunlight, and I can do a soaring session. So this is crazy. I mean, last time one of my best flights was in summer. We walked up with Jerome to in Kandersteg, my hometown, and we slept there during the night. And in the morning at 7, the wind was quite strong, so we took off. I took off with the GTO, and I was able to soar up more than 1,000 meters.
Hmm.
So I was on this mountain that you usually, it's not easy to climb up during the day when there are thermals, but I think no one ever soared up this hill,
Hmm.
this mountain. So this was crazy because I was there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So this was crazy. But also, I mean, when I can go and with no shoes in the sand soaring somewhere and do some waka, this is crazy as well. This is awesome.
When I was a very early pilot, that just reminded me of what's it called, the Schiltorn, I believe, over in Leukerbad. The
Yeah.
James Bond thing at the top. My buddy and I were very low hours pilot. We were just learning how to do cross country, and he'd been up there and flown off and really wanted to show it to me. And it's outrageous expensive, to go up there. We went up, and
Yeah.
and the cloud was below the peak tops, and there was almost no wind. It's quite a committing forward up there with all that talus, and you're just throwing yourself off
Uh,
into oblivion. And we made it back to Interlaken, which is nothing. It's like 40K. But
yeah.
yeah, I think we took off at 9 a.m. or 8:30, whenever they opened that thing. We were first up, and it's just those kind of flights. Really, they stay with you, don't they? I mean, it doesn't have to be the biggest or the best. It has, it's just.
Exactly.
I sense you've got this hike and fly bug. Do I see an X Alps in your future?
Yeah, also I thought a lot about it, but for me it's time wise and money wise not an option at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't have enough time to train, and also don't have enough money to run this thing. So what I see now is, it's for me, it's I'm a really competitive pilot or person as well. So if I do something, I'd like to push to what is possible. And then when I see now what two of my good friends do, like Critical Maurer or Aaron,
Hmm.
and they only do paragliding. So they train every day. They fly every day. What they do is crazy, and I don't have the time and not the money to do the same. And then I would be disappointed in myself if I will end up, yeah, 3 or 4 days later than they are.
Yeah. They I don't know, maybe this isn't even a fair question, but it's interesting. So no, I want to ask you anyway. It's no non-Swiss has ever won the X Alps, and part of that's kind of unfair because you have Kriegel, who's just in a completely different category, and what he's won four of them already. But you guys, as you said this year, the Swiss team isn't dominating this year. It's been the French, and that kind of shifts back and forth depending on wings and training and luck and
Hmm.
all the things we've already pointed out. But what is it about the Swiss and the X Alps?
Difficult to say. One guess could be that the conditions in Austria and Switzerland, it's two-thirds of the distance you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
probably. It's the same condition as in Switzerland. So it's for us maybe easier to fly in these conditions. So we know better where to go. This just one explanation. I don't know. Yeah.
So kind of like home court advantage. You were talking about earlier that like when you went down to San Andre, which I've only flown there a little bit, but the
Mm.
French really kind of had an advantage there because it's just such a unique. I mean, all the Alps have their own little unique quirks,
Hmm.
don't they? But that makes sense. So a little bit more of a home field advantage maybe for a good section of the course.
Probably yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Mickey, this is great. I really appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wind things down here? Oh, I know. I really wanted to ask you this. When you think back to when you started, when you were 15 with your dad back in
Uh-huh.
2003, or maybe just that first kind of year or two, what advice do you wish you would have received back then, or something that maybe you didn't get or you didn't maybe heed? Looking back, you haven't had any personal injuries, but you've seen some. Has there ever been kind of like, man, I wish I would have done that differently?
Uh, phew, no, flying wise, I could not say no. For me, it worked out really good. Maybe if there are other young pilots, I can only suggest not to fly every day, because yeah, for me it was then not so easy because I dropped all the other hobbies, and also with the friends in school that was also not so easy because on the weekends when it's good weather you go out. And I think what I can only say to all pilots, what is the most important is that you have fun when you are flying, and as soon as it's not fun anymore and you're not enjoying your flight, you have to go to land, because then either the conditions are not nice anymore, or yeah. So this is the most important, to have fun when you fly.
Great. Well, that's a perfect ending. Let's end it on that. Oh, you know what I'd love to do actually? I used to end all these shows with the Proust questionnaire, which is I find endlessly entertaining. So these are just little quick questions. I'll fire at you. Answer them however you want. You don't have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But we'll end it on that.
Sure,
Thanks,
sure.
Vicky. What is your favorite word?
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. Amazing is amazing. And your least favorite word?
It's not possible,
Ah,
or not. How you say it? It's like,
impossible.
I'm sure. Yeah, impossible. Yeah, exactly.
What turns you on? What turns you off?
Nice girls turn me off on, and sorry, misspelling. And what turns me off?
Not nice girls.
Bad flying conditions. Yeah,
Okay.
no,
There you
no,
go.
I cannot say that.
No.
There are no bad looking girls.
Excellent. Ooh, good answer, dude. Good answer. Your parents would be proud. Uh,
Especially my mom.
yes. What sound or noise do you love, and what sound or noise do you, well, hate's a powerful word, but do you not like?
um, I like the noise of wind quite a lot.
Hmm.
So when I'm not flying, for example, when I'm somewhere in a forest and I hear the sound of wind, it's nice. I don't like the sound of trains when they pass by.
Okay, gotcha. Uh, what is your favorite curse word?
What's that?
What's your favorite swear word?
Shit.
Good one. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Mm, like a doctor, I would say, like medicine.
Okay. And what profession would you not like to do?
Oh. Yeah, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, but no. So like I don't like to clean the how you say where the wastewater is going.
Sewer.
Yeah, probably this one. This
Yeah,
one.
that'd be rough.
I hate the smell.
That would be rough. Okay, final one, buddy, and then you're off the hook, and I'll let you go fly for the day. Thank you again for doing this. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome. I I'll let you in, even though I know what you did.
Come on in, Mickey. There's a space for you.
Even for you. Even for you.
Perfect,
And
bud.
all the stickers are here as well.
Perfect. Love it. Mickey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. That was a real honor to get to talk to you. I hope we get to see each other at Cloudbase here again shortly, and have fun in Korea. Hope you best of luck with developing your new wings, and give my best to Jin.
Yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
All right, buddy. Love to see you too.
Bye bye.
Cheers, man. Bye.
Yeah, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine. Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that cool conversation with a very cool cat. Hope I get to spend some time with Mickey here soon at Cloudbase. As again, at the top of the show, reminder that I'm taking questions for Bill Belcourt. Just shoot me an email via thecloudbasemayhem.com or hit me up on Facebook or wherever you like to communicate, and I'll get those down in front of Bill here right after the holidays. Got a great talk coming up for you in 2 weeks with Russ Ogden. You guys are going to love this. The Jedi at Ozone, and incredible PWC pilot, incredible guy. We actually brought a lot of your questions to him, and always such a treat to hear Russ's ideas on flying and flying well. As always, all we ask for is $1 a show. If you got something out of this one or one of the previous episodes, in fact, the last episode with Larry Tudor, legend hang glider, probably the most popular show we've had thus far. That one just went crazy all over the interwebs. If you haven't listened to that one, you have to. Some of those stories are just phenomenal. But yeah, if you got something out of this one or one of the previous shows, send us $1. You can do that from the website, cloudbasemayhem.com. That will keep the show alive. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.